Hey, all, my name's Bryant Young.
And Derek Chaney.
Here with the Decent Dads podcast. Brand new episode this week with no guest.
That's right. Yeah, we switched it up a little bit. You know, we do this every so often, just me and Bryant, bringing a couple good topics.
Damn right.
But then we have a really fun part of the episode towards the end that I think a lot of you guys will like. And
we brought the dad joke off today, baby.
That's right.
So we're going to crown the dad joke champ of the Decent Dads podcast later in the episode. So
that's right. Or let you guys decide. You know, you tell us what you think.
So I think we also had some good topics, some things that we wanted to talk about that we brought to the episode. Yeah. So it's not an entire hour worth of jokes.
Right. That's a good point.
Because that would get boring and terrible.
Right. Yeah. And there's a couple things that we wanted to bring up that really no guests have really brought up yet. Mm-hmm. So he's like, you know what? Let's talk about this and bring it up and see what feedback we get from other people. Because honestly, like both things are easy for people to be like, well, you know what? This is what I'm doing, or this is what I went through. You know, maybe it'll help you.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you think of something that relates to you, give it to us in the comments. Shout out in the comments, or let us know what you think.
No, give it to us.
Give it to us. Give it to me. So without further ado,
let's do it.
Decent Dads podcast. Here we go. Good evening, folks, and welcome back to the Decent Dads podcast. We're here to tell dad jokes, drink coffee, and build a community of dads navigating fatherhood together. I'm Bryant Young, fearless leader, co-host, girl dad, and your friendly local insurance agent based out of Springfield, Missouri. And now, before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome all by himself. He's a 6'3" sophomore shooting guard from small town Missouri. He wishes he was a first-team All-American, but instead, he's the coolest co-host with the most, a fantastic father of two, and the home loan expert. Folks, put your hands together and welcome the incomparable Mr. Derek Chaney. How are you, Derek?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I am actually 6'3", all by myself. Don't need any help.
Yeah, the timing on that was weird, but hey, I figured it was just you and I, so we can get a little odd if we wanted to.
That's right. You know, we'll do us. Don't you worry about it.
Dang right.
But no, man, it's a good day for a good day.
It's a good day.
Hoppy coffee in hand.
Yes. A bush.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I've got some basketball after this too.
Yeah, we do.
So it's gonna be fun, man.
So we're drinking the light coffees so that we don't throw up during basketball practice.
That's right. Safety first. But no, yeah, we're doing something a little bit different today. You know, no guest.
Going back to our roots, the one-on-one.
That's right. So yeah, for those of you that aren't actually watching this, it's just me and Bryant today. No guest, but we thought it'd be a good time to reintroduce ourselves.
Yeah.
And tell you basically who we are and give you guys our dad resumes for those of you that haven't watched every episode and don't know everything about us.
Yeah.
So
it's just we've up to almost 800 folks that are subscribed on YouTube, and so we figured it was probably time to reintroduce ourselves.
Yeah.
Just to kind of redo some of this.
That, and I just thought of this. This is episode 21.
Hey, 21.
Our podcast can legally drink now.
Dang right. Cheers. So we're having Irish coffees. That's or just Bush coffee.
But yeah, no, I'll start. With who I am, what I do, dad resume, all that stuff that I normally ask everybody every week.
Which one's your favorite?
And which one's my favorite? Yeah.
Good luck.
So right.
Good luck.
So yeah, I'm Derek Chaney. I am a boy dad. Got two crazy little boys. Liam, he just turned 3. Brody is 1, almost 1.5 now. Gosh, that's crazy.
Good Lord.
So yeah, Bryant's mentioned it before. Little boys break your shit, and that is so true in our household. So that leads me into the better half of the relationship. My wife Allie, the mom wonder. She does
the mom wonder
phenomenal job.
I love it.
Of what she does, but yeah, and then 9 to 5, I'm a banker, I'm a home loan guy, and when I get home from that, it's like I said, craziness with the boys.
Yeah,
but
awesome.
Yeah. What about you?
My name's Bryant Young. I am the worse half to my wife Liv.
That's a great way to describe it.
Yeah, exactly. She is the better half, and I am the worst half, just by natural stuff. So, so my wife Liv and I have one daughter who I am proud to say is my favorite child. Elsie is almost 2, and is a perfect mix of my particularness and my wife's sweetness. It's but only sweet with my wife. So we'll talk about that later. A little bit of the dad hack actually. But yeah, so by day I am an insurance agent in Springfield, Missouri, and I'm the third generation in our family business, and I work with my father. So the definition of the dad for me, he has prominent featuring here in the show.
He's here every episode.
He is here, just creeping over Derek's shoulder the entire time. And I hinted at tantrums, because that's what we deal with every week on this show.
Right.
My tantrum this week is actually kind of a tantrum, but also kind of not. It's actually a little bit sweet.
Okay. What you got?
So Elsie is getting, excuse me, she wants to play with everything, just like a little kid does.
Yep.
And she's gotten to the point now where she specifically seeks out the things that she's not supposed to play with, because that's what gets attention.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, but in the back of my head while it's happening, I'm just freaking out like, no,
right.
don't touch that.
Right.
So I mentioned I'm the third generation in our family business. My dad and grandfather started our insurance agency in the 80s, and my grandfather had polio. And for my entire life that I knew the man, and many years before that, he walked with a cane. His ankle was, smaller around than my wrist, and so I had, which is gigantic. I know, I got big wrists, but my grandfather had one little tiny ankle, but still, functioned, drove, did all those things, but he just always walked with a cane. When he passed, my grandmother wanted my dad and I to have all of his canes. And so I have, sitting in the corner actually of the room that we're filming in right now, I have a collection of his canes. And so Elsie and I are sitting down here playing around in the basement. Mom was upstairs working, and so I kind of tried to get Elsie out of the way. And she sneaks into the podcast room from the other room in there where all the toys are, and she kind of sneaks away, and we're listening to
this is all new.
Exactly. I'm not supposed to be in here. There's cords and buttons and knobs. It's like, gosh dang it. But she sneaks over, and we're listening to a song in the other room that has references to bunnies and references to ducks and references to farm animals. Well, my grandfather had really cool canes where the heads of them were all brass animals.
Okay.
Or wood carved animals.
Right.
And so there's a bulldog, and there's a bunny that is hand carved, and there is a brass duck.
Okay.
Head cover. And so she's in there,
like,
bunny, duck, and she's grabbing these canes that are, they're not, they were well used and they were well loved. And so it's not like they're perfectly maintained antiques or anything where I'm not worried about it, but it's also a giant piece of brass that I'm worried she's going to swing around and crack a window, or, there's some breakable stuff in this room.
Yeah.
So I was like, shit, she's going to break something. So Elsie, it's not so much a tantrum as it's kind of sweet, because at the end of the day, we were singing about bunnies and we were singing about ducks, and she sees ducks and bunnies and goes and gets them to bring them to me. And so that was very sweet.
Look what I found, Dad.
Unfortunately, it was stuff that's not really things that we want to play with. So it's not so much a tantrum this week as it is this is what we are doing now, is seeking out the things that we're not supposed to play with just to bother Dad.
Yeah. Does your grandpa, did any of those canes have the sword in them, like you see in the movies?
If they did, I think my dad might have stolen them and didn't let me have them, because Dad has a few of the canes, mostly the ones that my grandfather used a lot. Yeah. Specifically, I mentioned earlier that bulldog had one. Yep. Brass bulldog head.
Knock somebody out with that thing.
It's one of those deals where there's another one over there that kind of looks like a shillelagh. Like a brass-headed knob. It looks like a doorknob, but it's made of brass. And I want to so bad just mount that on a hickory stick, and then that's just my home defense weapon.
There you go.
It's just a shillelagh to beat the crap out of people.
Good luck, anybody.
But yeah, no, I want so bad to find one of Grandpa's canes to have a sword in it. I want that so bad. Yeah. That would be the coolest shit in the world.
Oh, man.
What about you? What kind of tantrums are you guys dealing with?
Yeah. Honestly, we've had a really good week, surprisingly. But yeah, so yesterday, my wife, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but she's a wedding planner. So she's gone a lot of weekends. And so this weekend was the start.
The best wedding planner in Missouri. Yeah. Let's just go ahead and make sure we're giving her credit where it's due. She's very, very good at her job.
She is. She absolutely is. But yeah, so she was gone yesterday because it's the start of wedding season. And so it was just me and the boys all day. So single parenting, and Brody had been sick the day or two before that. And so he's kind of still sick, still recovering. And so I was... I'd be lying if I said I was like looking forward to watching them, because I was kind of dreading it. I was like, he's going to be really sick, and it's going to be, it's going to be a tough day, right?
Very much so.
Because I figured, Liam would be needy and need this, need that. Dad, come play with me, which normally I would, but Brody, when he's sick, he's just like any other little kid. He's like, yeah, Dad, I just need cuddles.
Yep, I just need some snuggle time.
So yeah, anytime I would put him down to play with Liam or help Liam with something or go get something for Brody, it was he would get a little upset at me, and so we'd have to go cuddle some more. But I mean, that's that's expected. You can't really hold that against him. But
no.
I mean, I was trying to think of a good tantrum from this week, and honestly, that was probably the best one that I could think of.
You know what it comes down to? We just have really good kids.
Yeah. Well, and that's I want to brag on Liam for a little bit too, because he is. I give him a hard time on here. I've said a lot of his tantrums and stuff, and joke about how he's our emotional child and all that. But he was a trooper yesterday, because I stole a little bit of advice from our previous guest Nathan, and he said he's like I asked my kids to be good teammates and help me out with the other ones.
Love it.
And so I was like, you know what? I was like, I'll try that. I'll try that. So when I woke Liam up in the morning, I was like, all right, bud. Brody's not feeling too good. Can you help me out with him today and help take care of Brody Bear? And he's like, yeah. And so he was like super sweet to Brody all day. Would like bring him his water and different stuff
cool. Good.
And be like, drink your water, Brody. And he would help me when I asked him to grab something whenever I was holding Brody. And so.
Well, that's awesome.
Nothing big, crazy tantrum. No, funny, really story, but
sure.
It's something every dad's going to have to deal with.
Totally
right?
get it. Well, that's good though. I mean, the fact that you guys they're starting to operate as a team in the household.
They really are, and that's something that's so cool. Now,
good and bad though, because I assume that they can also get into shit together as a team, just as well as they can help each other out.
Yeah. Well, it's fun to see them play and stuff, but then they tag team on stuff and really get a mess going or something.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but I mean, at the same time too, even though if they do something like, bad or good or messy, whatever it is, it's so fun to see them building that relationship, building that bond, so it's, man, it's getting to be really, really fun in our household. Crazy, but fun.
Yeah. I did think of something that I intended to include in my dad resume from this week. So at time of recording, the Razorbacks just won a big game in the NCAA tournament last night
March
against
Madness.
Against I'm going to try to be nice and just say Jayhawks. We filmed this in Missouri, so there's a little bit of a hate for that particular team around this neck of the woods, and my alma mater played them last night.
Strong dislike.
Exactly. So I made sure to wear my hat. We're using our koozies. We use these every week, but we're just going to chalk it up to a win last night. Did you watch the end of it by any chance?
Yes, I did. I did watch.
Hell of a last 2 minutes of the game.
I did watch it because I saw it was a close game, and honestly, I mean, I'm not a Jayhawk, Mizzou, or Arkansas fan.
Yeah.
I don't really root for any of them, but I just like the underdog story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was super cool, and in a couple of my brackets, I actually had Arkansas beating them, so I was secretly rooting for Arkansas.
I am ashamed to admit I did not have Arkansas beating them in any of the 3 brackets that I had, because I am a poor fan. But it was still pretty fun. I got a FaceTime from my parents because they figured I would be doing backflips.
Right?
I was like, nope, just sitting with Elsie in the tub, like trying to keep an eye on it on my phone. Like that's all I could really do.
That's great. So funny story with that, with March Madness. So every year, even before the boys were born, me and Allie, we did a bracket and we just compete against each other. And, and so now this year, this is the first year that all 4 of us have a bracket.
Oh, no, this is fun. I got to hear more about this. How'd that work?
So naturally, me and Allie, we pick whatever teams.
Of course.
My wife has no sports experience, so she picks them off colors and team names / where they're located.
Yep.
She's like, "Oh, San Diego. I like San Diego.
That seems pretty.
They have
I would
nice
like to
weather
go there.
Let's pick them." So that's how her philosophy works, and I think she's beat me like the last 2 or 3 years. So clearly, there's something to that.
Oh man,
Liam, he's walking, talking now. So we'd ask him. We wouldn't really ask him what team. We'd be like, "All right, do you like number 1 or number 16 better?"
Yeah.
And so he would pick off the numbers, right? And he has a really good bracket. Like after the first round. Me, him, and Allie are neck and neck. Like
no joke.
Yeah, I think Allie's up by 1, and Liam's like, I think Allie got 23 right, I got 22 right, and he got 20 right.
Oh, that's hysterical.
And then Brody,
that's awesome.
And then Brody, we did 2 piles of snacks. It's
did you really?
If you pick this snack, okay, you're going for that team. If you pick that snack,
Oh, that's
you're going
so
for that
good.
team.
You guys did that. I love that.
Yeah. So, but poor Brody Bear, his bracket's not too hot, but that's okay. But anyways, winner gets to pick date day.
Awesome.
With the whole family. So
that's
what
fun.
we do. So I wasn't.
That's funny. I've got a story for that too.
Yeah.
So full disclosure, I actually don't care about basketball like at all. I know we've talked a decent amount about basketball lately on the podcast. It's because we're doing this basketball tournament. I actually hate basketball. I'm very bad at it.
You're so good at it though.
Yes, I don't like things I'm not good at, and go figure I suck at basketball. So I don't really care about the bracket that often, that much. But my wife's family, they always do one just as for fun, for shit talking rights. And my brother-in-law played high school football or basketball some, and my father-in-law played basketball a little bit, and so they're into it. My mother-in-law puts in like 4 different brackets.
Whoa.
And it's like the all upsets bracket.
Okay.
The all not upsets bracket. And she puts in like 4 of them. But Liv this year went to her work, and on the Slack channel that they have at their office or whatever, the inter-office chat, asked the entire office, okay, who wins in a fight? A Boilermaker or a Jayhawk? And that's how she picked her entire bracket, was
really?
Which of the mascots would win in a fight, a Paladin or a Razorback, or or a Cavalier and a bear,
right?
Or whatever, bear and a pack of wolves. And they had this weird, like, half a day long inter-office argument about which team would win, or which mascot would win in an actual, like, to the death fight.
I was gonna say,
and she's kicking all of our asses.
I'm trying to think of
Liv is kicking all of our ass.
What's the what mascot would win out of all
I think a train. I think the Purdue Boilermakers is probably pretty good. I don't know how you beat a train in a fight.
Well, and I was thinking like Alabama. I mean, they're the Crimson Tide, but they're like mascots like the elephant.
Yeah,
whatever.
True.
And I was like, that'd be
So the argument that Liv and I had after she told me she was doing this was who wins in a fight, a Paladin or a Cavalier?
What is a Paladin?
Paladin's like in gaming culture kind of thing. It's like a knight, but that has God on his side. It's like a religious. So he's got like religious,
like a crusader.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah. But like in video games, he's like slightly magic, but because he's got God on his side.
Okay.
And a cavalier is a guy with a gun on a horse. And so Liv and I argued back and forth. I said that maybe the Paladin because he's got magic, and Liv says, no, I've got a gun. It's like, yeah, okay, no, you win.
Slinging bullets over.
Exactly. So that was, I just thought that was pretty entertaining. I completely lost where we are in the show, though. Where are we?
Well, I think
it's Dad Hack.
Dad Hack time.
Dad Hack of the Week. I'm just kidding. We don't do that one here. We do this.
Dad Hack alert.
Perfect.
Count to 3.
We count to 3.
Just kidding. But yeah, what's your Dad Hack this week, man?
I struggled.
Me too. I did too.
So we talked about it earlier. This is episode 21 of the show, and Derek and I have both kind of come to each other before these things several times going, I'm like really dragging at dad hacks.
Right.
Tantrums are a little harder because sometimes our kids are just that good.
Right. It's like, oh, I'm complaining about my child having a good week.
I know, and it's like I feel bad about that. But on the dad hack side of things, I mean, I'm scouring the internet. I'm asking my wife. I'm asking anybody that'll let me ask them. But this week, I talked about Elsie and I listening to music in the other room. I found a YouTube channel, and it's actually a YouTube and a Spotify.
Okay.
They have YouTube and Spotify stuff.
What is it?
And it's a brand called Super Simple Songs.
Oh, yeah. Those are really good.
And I was not familiar with them until a couple weeks ago.
Like toys too.
Oh, do they really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Merchandising.
Yeah.
The Disney model.
Yeah. It is. I mean, they are really good though.
Well, and I like that it's nursery rhymes, and it's just like very simple, easy songs that Elsie latches onto. Exactly.
Yeah.
And she latches onto them like a pit bull.
You know why?
Wants to listen to them like crazy.
Because they're super simple.
Well, because they're super simple. Yeah. And now I've got like a Spotify playlist of all the songs that Elsie has perked up to.
Yeah.
And so I just every time, and this playlist is called Elsie's EIO because her favorite song in the world is Old MacDonald.
Right.
And she asks for it by going EIO, 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 and just constantly looking at you, EIO, EIO, EIO. And it's got the videos, both on Spotify and on YouTube, have cutesy little like animated cartoons that go along with the songs.
Right.
And so I've got to figure out how to break Elsie of wanting to watch the song because she sees the cutesy little cartoon and locks in on wanting to watch it,
Right.
whether it's on Spotify, because it even plays in the background on Spotify,
Right.
or on YouTube. So I've got to figure out a way to like break her of that habit, because it is pretty bad that like it's constantly she's looking at her phone. I wonder where she gets that from.
Yeah.
Constantly looking
Can't
at her
be
phone.
from us.
Not from us.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my
kids do
dad
the
hack
same
is pimping somebody else's YouTube channel. Super simple songs.
All right, cool.
What about you?
Well, you got pimping, and mine is lying to your children.
I think those things go hand in hand.
It's like a white lie. It's and more specifically using the phrase, "That's all we got." So Liam, he's like I said, he's 3, so he's really in that. I don't even know if I call it negotiation, more like demanding phase.
Yeah.
Like,
no, we're getting that.
His big thing is like, I want snacks. Okay. Well, we got goldfish, animal crackers. No, I don't want that snack. I want something else. And I'm like, dude, that's all we got.
That's all it's here.
If you want a snack, like that's what you're just gonna have to go with.
Yep. Gonna have to go to the grocery store soon. We're out. Sorry, pal.
And then he's like, he's like, ugh. He's like, okay, do goldfish, or he'll do the same thing with dinner, or he'll do the same thing with like his clothes now too. He's like, I don't want to wear that shirt or that shirt. I want to wear, my Rocket shirt. And it's well, those are all dirty. This is all we got. That's what you got to wear. I don't even know where I picked this up at.
I don't hate the white lie thing though. I really don't.
Well, it's like especially something like that because I mean, it's not. Yeah, you're not hurting anybody or anything like that. And so, and so yeah, that's worked out really, really well with him. And so now he's just like, all right. He's like, well, I guess I'll just have to do it. So lie to your children.
I mean, we started doing that, and again, it's one of those deals where I'm trying to find that happy medium because I do know that like if you continue to do that kind of stuff with bigger stuff, not with the white lie, the white lie side of it, I understand completely. And frankly, we do the exact same thing. But you do have to make sure and try to find that line with them, though, where you don't
cater to or bend your knee to every little thing.
Well, exactly. And then you don't then they start to like not trust you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where I'm super conscious of that. And we'll talk a little bit more about something very similar to this in a minute. But like, I am consciously trying to like balance those white lies with her though, because I am super scared that she's not going to trust me.
Yeah.
If I do too much of that shit, because of course we do the same thing. Sorry, babe, we're completely out of cookies. I don't know where I guess we have to go to the grocery store. I'm sorry, we're completely out of cookies. We're not. We have a whole pantry full of cookies.
Does she go into the pantry and look for them?
Dude, it's gotten to the point now. You've got a door on your pantry, right? Yeah. So ours is a sliding door, but that goes into the pantry, then goes into the garage, and so you have to. It's not just a separate room.
Right.
It's something you have to go through on a daily basis. So I try to close that door as often as possible. She's gotten to the point now where she can reach up and stick her hand in that little thing and move it over and live just organizing the pantry in a way that anybody would really organize it. Excuse me. All of the snacks are at Elsie height.
Oh, yeah. See, we've done, vegetables and like canned foods.
Yeah, let's put the cans on. Exactly.
Really high up.
Let's put the cans on the very bottom.
Because I think we started like that.
And it's just
like, how convenient it would be. They could go get their own snacks. And then it's like, no, they just keep going and getting their own snacks.
So when Elsie was really little, we spent some time with some friends that live around the corner, Trevor and Kelly, and they have a pantry, but it's behind cabinet doors just in their in their kitchen. And so they don't have an actual they do have a pantry, but they don't use it for that part of it. Their son's snacks are behind just doors,
right? Like
cabinet doors. And he learned early and often where the pouches of applesauce were.
Oh, yeah.
And the animal cracker little bags are. And so he goes over there, and you can just see him sneaking over to the cabinet to go get my stuff out of there. So,
dude, yeah, kids are funny, man. Like we talked about before, they pick up on so much stuff.
Well, and you're right. It's just they watch you do everything.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of kids, you always hear the phrase, well, I want to provide to my kids, everything I didn't have, right? But one thing I'm kind of struggling with and trying to get a little bit of advice too, and me and Al have talked about a lot as well, it's like, well, how do you provide everything for your kids that, you didn't have?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But not spoil them, right? And so that's, man, it's you got to toe that line, right? And so it's really, really tough.
It is, yeah. And I just had a thought about this subject we're about to go into, so keep going.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, that's really just it, because, you know, I mean, who doesn't want to put their kids in a better position than what they were?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And give them a step up than what they had, you know? I mean, who doesn't want to do that? But at the same time, too, it's like, you want to teach them, you know, hey, you got to work for it. You don't, you know, like we said, you don't want them to be spoiled, you know, you want them to be grateful, and things like that. So we're trying to like figure out, you know, how do you go about doing that, right? So, you know, the big thing with Liam right now is, and we've been pushing it for a long time, is just manners, you know, making sure that he is grateful. You know, he uses, you know, please and thank you. But then the other thing too that we're trying is, you know, like, hey, if you want something, like, hey, if you want this toy, okay, well, you got to go and do this. You know, you got to do something to get
It's not
that,
just
right?
I'm going to automatically get it when I ask
well, it's like
for
the
it.
carrot and the stick thing, and, you know,
Sure.
give them the carrot type deal. Because perfect example. Yesterday, when I was single parenting, we stopped by Walmart to pick up some stuff, and Liam was giving me a little bit of a hard time going in there, not too bad. And so I told him, I was like, hey, do you want a new toy car? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay. I was like, well, if you listen to me and are good in Walmart, I was like, we'll go buy the toy cars when we're leaving, right? Sure enough, he's like, okay. And so sure enough, he was super good in there.
And it worked.
And it worked. And we drove by him and got him a little Hot Wheels, you know, toy car, him and Brody one, and they loved it. And that worked out super well. But it's like, you don't want to do that so much to where, you know, they get so spoiled on
Well,
it.
and that's it's almost like, at what point does that become
Where do you stop?
bribery? You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, the only way my kids are going to be good is if I bribe them with a toy.
Right. And you don't want that either.
So it is that, you know, the way I looked at it, because we talked about this a little bit ahead of time, is that I look at it as kind of trying to find the balance between spoiled and disciplined kids. Because we both grew up in pretty rule-oriented households. My dad's an insurance agent. My mom's a school teacher. And so rules out the yin-yang. And that was just something that we dealt with all the time.
Yeah.
And to the point where my mom found out when I was in my 20s that she was like the mom that everybody was scared of because she had so many rules.
Yeah.
And she was like the stick to the rules kind of person, which she was super like. She wasn't pissed, but she's just like, I can't believe that I was the disciplined mom. I was like, Mom, yeah, you are. You're alpha.
She was a teacher, though, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've got the teacher voice.
Yeah.
We jokingly either call it the teacher voice or the angry consumer voice, where she's like in a store or something and she's got that angry consumer voice. But I grew up in a household that was very regimented. It was, you know, I had to ask to watch TV. I had to ask to get on the computer. I had to, like, it wasn't just a laissez-faire, do whatever the hell you want kind of house.
Right.
But I think that helped me in the long run.
Oh, yeah.
But also, frankly, as a dad who's trying to put that kind of shit in place right now, pardon my French, but it's fucking hard.
Oh, it is.
Like,
it is so hard.
And I talked about this way early in the episodes, that like you just take your heart out and you give it legs, and then now it's just fucking running around out there.
Right.
And now you've got to tell this thing that you love so much, no. It's so hard for me. That's such a huge struggle for me that, like, and also trying to discipline somebody that doesn't yet fully speak your language.
Yeah.
Elsie doesn't, I mean, she has some words, and and we're surprised every single day at the new words she has or the new sentences that she's able to put together. But she can't understand complex sentences, or like when I say, hey, listen, you've got to stop doing this because this, that's too much.
Yep.
But also saying stop doesn't really help.
Right.
Because then all she hears is, she's a little parrot.
Can't do that. Yep.
Exactly. All she does is she hears the parrot. And so now Elsie's favorite thing is stop, Daddy, stop.
Yeah.
Because I think she hears it in daycare, and then we're trying to get her to like not touch something because it's hot.
Right.
It's like, stop, Daddy, stop. That's her new thing. So we're trying to tell her to stop doing things, but she can't speak full sentences yet. And so I think we're not there yet. And so I don't feel bad that she's not as disciplined as maybe I might like her to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I also, frankly, I love this thing so much. and I want so much for this little girl
right. Like,
that I don't ever, I want to say yes to everything.
Exactly.
And I want
like
her to
provide
just
everything to him.
And I want her to want to hug me and love me and do nothing else ever again.
Right.
Like that's the one. She is quite literally the one thing that I would feel comfortable quitting my job and doing nothing else but just hanging out with my daughter. But I'm struggling with that line mostly because we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, I will say as they get older, I guess it does get easier. I think because I know, like, you know, when Liam was first born, you know, all the way up until probably past Brody was born. You know, Liam's first year going on a second year. It's like, dude, anytime you went to the store, whether they were with you or not, you'd see something, you'd be like, oh, that's so cool. The boys will love it. Let me just get that.
Yep.
And now I think you're more aware of it, you're more conscious of it, and you're like, you know, they're fine without that, right?
They'll never know that I didn't buy them this thing because it's just me coming home.
I hadn't even thought about that. But that's a great viewpoint of it too. So I think it does get easier. But yeah, no. And then, you know, as I was thinking about it, I was trying to think of, like, you know, how did my parents do this, right?
That's the only example we have.
Yeah.
Right?
And so I think my parents, they were really good. I mean, they provided, you know, tons of stuff to us. I mean, we were probably a little spoiled as well, but they went about it in a way that it didn't really seem like it, you know, they were spoiling us. You know, like I said, they were really big on, I don't want to say it was a strict household, but it was like, hey, you know, if you want this, then yeah, you got to work for it. You know, you got to do X, Y, and Z.
And that was the same way that my parents were.
And then you get it, right? So then it's not really spoiling, it's more rewarding or bribing in a way, however you want to look at it, you know?
Well, and I don't think it's a bribe unless it becomes a habit.
Right.
At least that's the way I look at it. Like, it's not.
Yeah. And they were really good too. I mean, we'd go to the store sometimes and I'd be like, you know, hey, you know, can I have this? And it'd just be like, nope, you can't. We got you one last time. Sorry, you know. And so they were really good about that and holding. That's the thing. I think you got to hold firm on your answer. You can't.
Well, and talk about, like, consistency between you and your spouse too. Yeah. Because at least for me, and I want to hear your thoughts on this too. Like, if dad is always the pushover, as our kids get older, they'll ask mom and mom will say no, and they'll turn around and come to dad. Yeah. And dad will say yes. Yeah. Or they'll just stop going to mom and go straight to dad. Yeah. And so trying to find some, like, consistency in the messaging between you and your spouse, I think is probably pretty important as well.
Oh yeah, and I think it's just talking to your spouse about that and being on the same page, right?
Sure.
Yeah, because like you said, for whatever reason, like, I didn't think I'd be more the pushover, but I feel like I am between me and Allie, which is funny.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, and it goes back and forth for Liv and I, because when we first were talking about it, Liv was convinced that I was going to be the pushover particularly because I've got a little girl and I've never had a girl. Like, I mean, I don't have a sister. I have girl cousins, but that's as close as I get besides my mother. And so, like, I've never been responsible for a girl other than, you know, kind of my wife. She's an adult, but you get what I'm saying. But, like, but I find that sometimes she's just as bad as I ever thought about being. Liv is. Yeah. And I did think of something. My parents weren't totalitarian in it, where it's like we weren't given things, or we weren't given opportunities to earn things. Right. It was just that they had a lot of rules that you follow the rules, full stop. Right. Now, it's probably a little bit like first son versus second son thing, where my brother basically bucked the rules at every turn. I was my parents would just have to look at me funny and I followed the rules kind of deal. Right. Until I got into high school, and then all bets were off. But, like, as a child, like, my mom jokes about it now to this day, where all she would have to do is give me a stern teacher look. Yeah. And then I would immediately do whatever they wanted me to do. Like, when I was a little kid, mom said, okay, you can't get out of your bedroom. You can't get out of bed. Like, when I got my first big kid bed. Right. You can't get out of bed until dad or I come get you. There was no light. There was no sound maker that turned off or changed colors or anything like that. It was just, you don't get out of bed until I tell you. Yeah. And I did it because for whatever reason, that was the way my brain worked. And so I'd love to instill that kind of fear in my daughter. Yeah. But I also don't know how to do that. Right. Yeah. Because it's like, I don't know. I that is something that I find myself being really concerned about over the next couple of years. Right. Yeah. And how to instill that discipline. We've mentioned it 100 times on here. It's like, you don't really know what you're doing is working until really it's probably too late. Yep. Right. No shit. 100%. But the other thing too, me and Allie, we've talked about,
as well is not spending, necessarily money on, stuff, but more on experiences.
Okay.
Because then,
Sure,
right,
sure.
you're spoiling them without them really knowing you're spoiling them, right? Because this is something I'm doing, not something that I get, right? And it's even got to the point where like Christmas and birthdays, like we've asked like family members, like, hey, don't necessarily worry about getting them toys, get them. Get him a membership to the Discovery Center, or like Liam just had his birthday and my parents got him like swim lessons because he loves the water, loves the pool, and that is the best thing they could have got him. Like that's all he talks about all week. Like, because before bed, we always ask him, we're like, hey, what was your favorite thing about today? We have swim lessons on Monday. Last night I asked him what his favorite thing about the day was. He's like, going down the big water slide. I was like, dude, that was 6 days ago.
That was a week ago, pal.
but I mean, it's just like that. And it's like, yeah, they're still getting spoiled, but I don't think they really realize that they're getting spoiled.
I'm gonna rip that off. I mean, my in-laws, so my wife's brother and my sister, my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law have kids, and that was something that they started doing. They asked for experiences, not gifts, and experiences, not toys, or especially from the family for like Christmas. Like, we don't need any more freaking toys in our house,
right?
But we could use an opportunity to go do stuff,
right?
So,
exactly.
I think that's. I think your point is well taken, though, that they don't know, especially when they're little, that they're getting spoiled if it's experiences. As opposed to toys.
Yeah.
Because, toys, there's a physical representation of the thing sitting right there in front of you.
Yeah. But the thing, too, it's like, even the look on their faces, right? They're super happy when they get a new toy and they're playing it. But, like, when they experience something new, like, the look on their face, like, that is the coolest thing in the world, right?
Well, all you got to do is look at Christmas Day, which I've only really had to experience with, like, a kid that can know that it's Christmas Day the one time. Elsie couldn't have given less of a shit about the toys that she was getting on Christmas Day.
Right.
I mean, we had to actively like put her in our laps and force her to open gifts because she did not care about it. And but to your point, she loves going to the zoo and seeing the monkeys. Or like we've not done the Wonders of Wildlife thing, but that's on my list. Now that she's there, like now that she's of that age where it's not just a toddler. Not that Garrett's idea wasn't great, and wheeling a baby through Wonders of Wildlife is probably pretty cool.
It is.
She's to that age where I'm excited to get her in and doing those kinds of experiences.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just different.
Yeah. And it's tone of line, and every kid's different.
And I think the answer is there is no one answer.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Like there is no answer. Every family's going to do it differently. Every kid is going to respond differently. I mean, even just talking about between my brother and I,
right?
Like every kid is going to respond differently to different stimulus, and so stimuli, whatever. So what are we going to do to try and actually find the thing that works for our kids?
Yeah. Yep.
Scared to death.
Yep.
So,
trial by error. We'll figure it out.
Well, no shit. Trial by fire. So, did you have anything else on that? I don't want to get away from it without
Not really,
it.
no. I mean, the other thing I was just going to say, that any of you dads out there that are listening to this episode, if you have any input on this.
Yes.
I would love to hear it because, like I said, don't really know, what we're doing, if it's working or not.
Input on this. Be more specific. I want to turn this into a short. Be more specific. Input on what?
Yeah. Give us more input on, how do you provide everything for your kids without spoiling them, right? Is it rewarding them? Is it bribing them? Whatever it is, like I want to know so that I can start implementing that with my kids as well.
Sure.
Too. So.
Whether it's techniques or it's ideas or it's what you're doing that did not work. Because frankly,
there you go.
I mean, we'll take the stuff that didn't work so that we can at least learn from your mistake. We'll take any of that. So, so less serious. You and I try to come to these things with a couple of ideas every episode. And I don't know why I started thinking about this the other day, but I presented it to you and you were like, oh, well, that's perfect. We should definitely talk about this. So what spawned this entire thing was I saw a reference online to Blockbuster. That somebody was rest in peace. I mean, that was such a thing in our childhood that I wondered what else from our childhood will our kids not experience.
Yeah.
Jeff made the joke a couple of weeks ago, the passage of time. Sands of the hourglass, these are the days of our lives. Like, what kind of things like Jeff was saying, recording on, a stereophone or something like that. What are some things that you loved from your childhood or you experienced, but that you don't think your kids will get to experience?
Yeah.
What is something? Give me your first one. Like, what's something that you think of?
It's funny that this was the first thing that came to mind to me. Whenever you said, hey, I think this is going to be my idea for the show.
Sure.
Mine was grocery shopping with my mom.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. I know where you're going with this. Sure.
So when I was little, my mom would go, especially when I was really little, because my parents are farmers. So my dad would be out messing with cows on the farm, doing something that you don't really want a little kid by your side. So mom would go grocery shopping, and I'd have to go with her. And we'd only go grocery shopping like once every 2-3 weeks. And so
damn, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what happens when you live like 30 miles from a grocery store.
I guess that's true. If you're talking about like a 35 minutes.
So it's like once every 2 or 3 weeks, I'd say she'd go. And so like this is like a 2 or 3 hour grocery trip, right? And so a little kid in a grocery store, and you start out walking around with your mom, but then it's like, what do I do now after an hour passes by, right? And so if we were lucky, we'd go to Walmart that actually has like a toy section, so I'd look at the toys for a while and whatnot. But I'm like, my kids won't experience that. Like our groceries show up on our doorstep whenever we need them.
Yeah, or even if you don't do the delivery thing and you
just go pick it up.
You just go pick you order it from them and you pick it up and it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
Or you do the thing where you know exactly where everything is in the aisles because you've gone through and researched the store ahead of time because that's how Liv is.
Yeah.
And her hour-long shopping trip takes 25 minutes because she knows exactly where everything is.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know why that popped up first in my head, but I was like, yeah, dude, I just remember walking and yeah, so
that's good. I like that.
Yeah,
well, I started to elaborate on mine at the beginning when I introduced the thing. It was Blockbuster. As I was going through this list, I discovered that a lot of the stuff that I was thinking of was media related, which is kind of embarrassing, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Friday night trips to Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Whether it's with my parents and my brother, and we're just getting a couple of videos for the weekend or whatever, which was like a treat from my parents.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was like you did good this week, or
deal,
just
right?
exactly. Yeah. You go and you get a couple of movies for the weekend, and I mean, I can think about the smell of that place. Like our Blockbuster, I can walk you into the store that used to be our Blockbuster, and I can walk you to this wall, and I know exactly where the new releases are, and I can walk you to this wall, and I know exactly where the video games were. And when they started doing, when they started doing video games, it used to just be
movies.
At the very beginning it was just movies, and then they went to video games. The thrill of finding a new release that was still in store.
Oh, right.
Because new releases were so hard to find.
Yeah.
Like new movies that had just come out that on VHS, because we're talking about VHS right
let's
now.
put this in perspective. There's no Redbox. There's no...
No, I mean, we're not even talking about DVD.
Yeah.
Like when I remember going, it was still
VHS
tapes. Yeah. And so like, and again, new releases, everybody was in trying to get those movies, and so the thrill of finding a new release movie that was out there, trying to like sneak back to the video game section. I referenced it earlier. My parents were relatively strict on the media side of things. Like you had to ask to watch TV, you had to ask to get on the computer.
Oh yeah.
We didn't have video games. I didn't have video games until I was probably in high school.
Yeah, I never had them.
Which is it's just one of those things, which is why I'm 34 years old and there's still a PlayStation in my basement. So take that, mom and dad.
Showed you.
Showed you. But at like sneaking back to the video game section to see what games they had, and like looking at Turok, the dinosaur game. That was like so cool with guns and dinosaurs.
Oh, right.
But like watching the movie trailers. On the TVs that were all over the place in there, and like trying to get some candy, trying to get some popcorn out of mom and dad on that trip, or doing it with your friends on a Friday night sleepover.
Yeah.
Like that was the other thing that my parents would do, is that they would take me and my 2 or 3 little buddies that were staying at the house, or my 1 or 2 little buddies that were staying at the house with me, to Blockbuster to go get a movie, and like trying to negotiate amongst your friends to figure out what movie are we going to watch. Yeah. Is it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles again? I mean, I've seen it like 15 times, but you better frickin' believe I want to watch it again. Yes. Like what is the thing? That's not something Elsie will experience.
No.
Because it's all, that entire experience is inside the TV.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what I was going to say. Think about take it even to the next step, movie theaters, right? That was our big thing in like high school and college. Is like, hey, go to the movie theater to see the movie once it gets released.
Right.
Then you wait till it gets put out on VHS or DVD. But dude, now they don't even have to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so that's actually that. I'm not even gonna let you go. I'm gonna go right into my next one because it's perfectly tied into this one. Like I mentioned, the entire Blockbuster experience is in the TV now.
Mm-hmm.
Physical media is more or less dead.
Yeah.
Like physical VHS, DVDs. I saw something the other day. It was on social media. I won't say that I was reading. I saw something. But that this year was the first year that 2023 was the first year since 20 years ago that vinyl outsold CDs.
Huh. That's funny.
Because, there are the purists that care about vinyl.
Retro.
Exactly. The purists that care about the audio that comes out of vinyl. Either you're going to buy your music on that album because you care about having the vinyl, or you're just going to go listen to it on Spotify.
Yeah.
Or if you really care about buying it, you're going to go buy it from iTunes or whatever.
Right.
But you're not going to go to Entertain Mart and go scan the CD section anymore, which for me was like a religious experience. You're going to find that CD.
Oh, right.
And again, I grew up in a pretty strict household. Parental advisory music was against the rules, and so you were trying to find, well, this is parental advisory, but it's only like a couple
one bad
of bad
word
words
in one song.
Yeah, there's only a couple of bad words. It's not real. The
flip it over and look at the songs on the back, and it's like explicit content. Explicit content.
All of the entire freaking album. But or even just looking at it in your basement, we had a VHS collection in the drawer under the TV in the basement. And then when VHSs went away, we had DVDs, and you could stack more DVDs in there. But the experience of, okay, I want to watch Ninja Turtles, and so you pull out the Ninja Turtles box and you pull out the DVD, but it's the wrong DVD.
Or you pull out the VHS and you got to rewind it.
Exactly. You got to rewind the VHS. What a weird concept now instead of
blue
just
screen makes it go faster.
This is a
whether
reference
that's
that
true or
nobody,
not,
but
I don't know.
Who knows? But we're going to think about it. But the struggle of trying to fit a Discman in your back pocket in your blue jeans. Did you ever try to put a CD player in your back pocket? Yeah. It didn't quite fit.
Or try to tuck it in the belt. So
exactly. Your little boy jeans. It definitely didn't fit in my kid jeans. Or my middle school jeans, or CD skipping. And how cool it was that there was a anti-skip technology that definitely didn't work. No. It didn't do shit.
Yeah, you had a hard enough button skipping.
But also talking about physical media, going on DVDs, trying to pick the chapter. When you stopped a movie, you stopped a DVD midstream, it's okay, time to go to bed. It's 9:30. Mom and Dad said it's time to go to bed, so you got to stop the DVD. You go start it the next afternoon or something.
I forgot they had chapters.
It's what chapter do you go to start? Where'd we leave off? Yeah. Whereas now you go directly to the minute.
Yeah,
and it's just on. Yeah, it's so interesting that Elsie will experience none of that. She's a 2-year-old and she's already kind of operating the remote.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's just she'll never experience any of that physical media stuff unless there's a resurgence and that kind of stuff. But Liv and I don't care about vinyl.
So that's one thing that I saw a while back too is, and it leads perfectly into this, is our generation of kids don't know how to be bored. Right.
Interesting.
They always have access to everything, right? Or especially once they start getting phones and stuff like that. Oh, I want to watch a movie.
Stimuli right in front of you.
Just pull it up, or you know what? I want to watch a movie. Okay, I don't have to watch the previews. I just instantly put it on. It's instantly there. I don't have to go out and go get it and go grocery shopping with mom and be bored while I'm grocery shopping with mom to go get this movie, right? So they don't. Yeah, I feel like they won't ever be bored, and I feel like kids need to be bored, right?
You got to learn how to be bored a little bit.
That stimulates their creativity and hey, okay, well, let me go do this then so that I won't be bored, right?
Sure.
So whereas us, as kids, I specifically remember being bored as shit all the time. And it's well, I guess I better, go play basketball or go explore or go do something.
Exactly. Find something to entertain yourself.
And I'm afraid our kids won't have that. And so it's, how do you... reproduce that.
Have you guys, so this is a conversation that Liv and I are having daily now, where we're going back to restaurants and like getting Elsie out of the house to go to restaurants, and or even like when we saw you guys in Target a couple of months ago, like going to stores. How do we help Elsie find a way to entertain herself while sitting at the table and not entertain herself? We're going to try to help entertain her, but like walking through Target or sitting in a halfway decent restaurant, sitting down for dinner, how do we entertain her without just slapping a phone in front of her?
Right. Yeah. And I think right now with the age that our kids are, it is kind of hard to, figure that out because they don't really know. I think once they get a little bit older and they know, then we absolutely won't be putting the phone in front of them. Yeah. But I mean, that's what we try to do is like phones last resort at restaurants or like when we're shopping and they're like in the shopping cart or something like that. But there's sometimes that you just have to resort to that.
So that's the next on my list is, did you guys play games on the menus at restaurants like tic-tac-toe?
Oh, like
or like the line game,
the maze.
Well, and if it had the maze, if the menu like at Chili's has the maze on the back, that was the coolest thing ever. Yeah. But my parents even like if it didn't have that kind of entertainment on the back of the menu or something, my dad and I or my mom and I and Drew would play the line game. Where you put a bunch of dots, and then I draw a line, and then you draw a line.
You get a box.
Exactly, you get a box, you get to go again. That game, right? And I played so much of that game as a child that I'm hoping to introduce that to Elsie, but I don't know if we'll get there because cell phones exist.
Yeah.
Or like she, instead of coloring on the menu or like coloring in the little squirrel that's on the menu, we have an app in Liv's phone that is a coloring app.
Oh gosh.
That you can color on the app with your finger. I don't know if that's good or if it's bad.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else on your list?
This one's kind of funny. You mentioned Chili's and made me think of this too. So if you remember when we were kids, you probably went to fast food places, got food. Mm-hmm. All of them had playgrounds, like indoor playgrounds or big play sets, outside, inside.
That's almost a thing of the past.
Right.
Like, I'm pretty sure, I don't know
I can think of 2 places here in town that have like the indoor play sets.
Oh, you told me about this, but now I'm forgetting. Where are they?
So like the 2 that I can think of is one's Chick-fil-A here in town.
Oh, yeah.
And theirs is like kind of small, and then there's the Burger King on like Battlefield and whatever that is, Campbell.
Yeah, that's the one I remember going to.
Yeah, we never go to that one. But I remember like
way the hell over there.
As a kid, it's like you went to one of those fast food places and you're like, oh, this is awesome. There's this
the greatest
massive playground right here while we're waiting on our food, or we can play on it after. And it's funny because we just went to Chick-fil-A the other day, and normally we go through the drive-thru, and we actually went inside, and Liam and Brody got to experience that, and they thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I was like, dude, this was every fast food place we went to as a kid.
How the heck did that go away?
And like, from like a marketing standpoint, it's like, why did you make that go away? Like, Burger King, McDonald's, all these different places. Because it's like, shoot, if I can have entertainment for my kids while we're waiting on our food, or I can just enjoy the meal in peace.
Exactly.
While my kids are playing.
Yeah, you guys just, like, I'm going to finish my half a cheeseburger.
I'm going there. Like, I don't know. So I feel like, the fast food places are really missing out on an opportunity there and need to bring that back.
Yeah, that's so funny though, because again, that was the thing when we were kids. That was the treat. Yeah, you get to go to McDonald's and then go play in the ball pit or whatever there was.
Well, and you mentioned when we brought this up earlier that you're like, well, Sonic has them, and it's like that was the only place when we were growing up that didn't have them,
and now they're outside only.
And now they're outside only, but it's like I remember hating going to Sonic because it's like you had to eat your food in the car, and then you couldn't go play because there was no playground to play on. Well, now it's the only place that has one.
And that was like the blast from the past thing where like you're sitting on the bumper of the truck or something, eating your cheeseburger because mom and dad wanted like the nostalgia of pulling into the drive-in and eating at the drive-in deal. Similar to what we're talking about now, that was like what our parents wanted to do to introduce that they did when they were kids, to introduce to us as their kids.
Sure.
My last thing is I'm embarrassed that all of this stuff is media related, which is funny to me that like that was what I locked into as a kid, which is a little embarrassing, but it is what it is. Couch co-op or split screen video games. I don't think that really happens very much anymore. Like think like GoldenEye. When we were kids,
you guys
like
put the cardboard.
Yes. no screen peeking. No screen peeking. That's against the rules. Or like somebody had to like tape the blanket across the TV to make sure that you couldn't see my screen and I couldn't see yours. I don't know that couch co-op games really exist anymore. Definitely not as prevalent as they were when we were kids.
Oh no.
And again, like it's all online.
Yeah.
And you could be playing with a 12-year-old or you could be playing with a 34-year-old.
Yeah.
And the 34-year-old's language is way worse than a 14-year-old's.
You'd be surprised.
Actually, yeah, you're probably right. I've learned how to, well, somebody else has learned how to regulate themselves. I certainly haven't. But like that again, talking about the Friday night thing, the sleepover at your friend's house, like I know you guys were way more athletic than I was growing up, but like you and your friends probably played basketball. We played GoldenEye until 3:00 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, we would sit around for 5 hours at a time. And again, because I didn't have video games as a kid, that was like the thing that I locked into. And I remember sitting in Sean Burke's basement. Shout out Sean Burke. I used to sit in Sean Burke's basement and he and I would play GoldenEye and Perfect Dark and like a couple of these like 90s shooter video games and would obsess for hours on end.
Oh, yeah. That was the thing, too. Like, me growing up, like I said, we didn't have video games, so it's like when friends came over to spend the night, we had to go play basketball, go do something. Mm-hmm. But when I got to stay the night at friend's house, we played Donkey Kong and Mario Kart and Crash. Yeah.
But again, I was like,
that's the coolest thing ever.
The pass the controller games. I mean, that was the other thing that you do. You play the single player game.
In a circle. It's like pass the controller. Yes.
Yeah, that's so funny. You do that pass the controller thing. I don't know how I came by this idea, but it was just something that I was thinking of. Like, what do I am sad that I'm not going to introduce Elsie to.
Yeah.
The Blockbuster one in particular was like a huge, big sad for me that I didn't get to introduce her to Blockbuster. I don't know what that's going to be like now. Like, I don't know what that thing is for us. But
there's an Airbnb somewhere in an old Blockbuster that it's still set up like a Blockbuster.
Oh, that's hysterical.
I've seen
is
it
really?
advertised. I don't know where it's at. I want to say California, but I could be wrong.
Look that up.
But yeah, there's still a chance, I guess. All right, Bryant, we've hit that part of the episode where we try to wrap it up with our probably our favorite section.
It's Dad Joke of the Week.
That's right. It is Dad Joke of the Week, but we're doing it a little bit different this time.
It's the 21st episode, baby. It's time to have a little fun.
That's right. So 21 episodes in, we've heard a lot of dad jokes. We've told a lot of dad jokes.
Too many.
So
I'm
we
going to go ahead
thought
and say it. Too many.
We would see who the dad joke champion is between
Dad Joke Champ
between the two of us and have a dad joke off.
So how are we going to do this? I think the rules should be if you laugh while you're telling it, you lose a point. If you laugh when somebody tells you the joke, then you lose a point.
Let's keep it simple. If you laugh while the other person tells a joke, that's a point for the other person.
For the teller, the joke teller.
Yeah. If you laugh telling your own joke, that's a point for the other person as well too. Then we're not adding and subtracting. We're just
That's a good point. Yeah. I like this thought process. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
So who should go first?
I think you should serve first. You're younger. Okay. I'm better looking. Okay. We'll just do it that way. Okay. Age before beauty.
Well.
Oh God, he's got a bunch of cards.
My note cards here because I came prepared. Is this a point for me? Because you're laughing really hard.
Shit! No, I'm just getting my giggles out early.
Okay, let me know when you're ready.
Okay, do it.
All right, you ready? Mm-hmm. What do you call a song that doesn't show up?
I don't know.
A deadbeat.
Okay. All right, this is going to be... Did you just turn that over?
No.
Such a dork. That does not count. That does not count as a laugh.
We both laugh, so it's a point for both of us.
Yeah, I saw a book called How to Solve 50% of Your Problems. So I bought 2.
I'm not going to do it. Not.
Woosa. All right, there you go. Okay. All right, go ahead.
That was a close one. Do you know the furniture store keeps calling me? All I wanted was a nightstand. Was a one-night stand. Dang it! Messed my own joke up. But you still
does not count as a laugh. I'm laughing at you. Fine. I'm laughing at you poorly telling that joke, but I'll still give you a point.
I didn't need to look at my cards better.
I actually know that joke. And so when you said it, I was like, I don't think he did that right.
Okay. No more screw-ups. Okay.
When I die, I want to be cremated
Why?
so I can finally have a smoking hot body.
You,
Yes.
I tried responding so I wouldn't laugh.
Got him.
It did not work.
So wait, is that 1-1?
We'll look back at the film.
All right, we'll run it back.
We'll
Okay,
figure
all
it
right.
Why didn't the boat dock?
No idea.
There was too much peer pressure.
Boo.
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure.
Yeah, just think about it.
P-I-E-R. That's pretty good.
Okay.
Why did the whale blush? Because it saw the ocean's bottom. Just a smirk, huh? Okay,
Yeah.
all right, that's fine.
Gosh, I'm trying not to laugh at this joke, actually. So, what do you call a chicken with lettuce in its eye?
Oh, no, I have no idea.
No. Chicken sees a salad.
Holy shit. Okay. My wife asked me if she was the only one I'd been with. I said yes. The other ones were 9s and 10s.
That's terrible.
Liv, I love you. That's a joke. Liv, I love you. That's a joke.
That was a good
The only one I've been with.
Oh, man. Yeah, you deserve a point for
Yeah,
that.
baby. I've got a couple of uncle jokes mixed in here. I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now.
We're getting to them. We're getting to it. All right. What did 50 Cent do when he was hungry?
I don't know.
58.
All right, you get credit for that one. Shit. Hey, what does Zeus wear under his clothes? Thunderwear. That ain't okay. Yeah, that one was kind of weak. I thought that one was pretty good. I wanted to try it.
Oh, gosh. Did you hear about Mr. Cup? Well, his wife left him. Now he's a solo cup.
No. Nope.
No,
I refuse.
That's like Springfield related.
Hey, why don't boxers have sex the night before a fight? They just don't really like each other. Come on.
That's a hard one.
That's a good one.
That's a hard one. No pun intended.
Yeah.
I made you laugh at your own joke. Yes. Take those points.
Shit. Oh, God.
Well, you're speaking about sex.
Not in this room.
Yeah. Do you know love is like a fart? If you have to force it, it's probably shit.
Good Lord.
Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Don't laugh at your own joke. That's hard.
What do you call a man with no arms and no legs in the ocean?
Oh, gosh.
Bob.
That's so bad. That's so bad. Oh.
That's terrible. I hate that joke so much. It makes me feel
My
so.
dad's name is Bob.
Yeah, that makes me feel so uncomfortable, but it's still so funny.
That one hit home,
shit.
man. Yeah, that's my dad's name.
Yeah, you should make sure and tell him that joke.
I will. All right. Why should you not buy women watches?
Oh, I don't know.
Because there's a clock on the stove.
Holy shit. I'm not laughing at that. I'm not.
Called your wife a one, but won't laugh at that.
Speaking of wives, how do you make your wife cry during sex?
Don't know if I want to know.
You call her.
Man.
As if she's not there.
Yeah.
If you have to explain the joke, that's how you know it's a good joke.
I understood it, but I was just like, calling your wife a one, then calling her when you're...
These are jokes from the internet, people.
Liv?
They're not original content.
Liv, we got some talking we need to be doing here. Well, let's get a little more G-rated here.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you hear about the kidnapping at school?
And that's G-rated? No.
No, it's fine. He woke up.
I met a microbiologist the other day.
Oh, really?
She was much bigger than I was expecting.
It's a good science joke.
Come on, that's a good one. That's a good one.
No.
All right, whatever.
No. What do you call a woman twerking in a business suit?
Oh, shit. Damn it.
Already
Give me the
See if
punchline.
I can get 2 points for this one. A net twerker.
No.
That's
No.
good.
I think I might tell that at the SGF forum just to see how that goes.
That'd be good.
Oh, God.
Get groans.
Yeah, no shit. Why does a chicken coop only have 2 doors? Because if it had 4, it'd be a sedan. You snorted at that one. You snorted at that one. That one counts.
Oh, gosh. I laughed because it was so bad.
Hey, speaking of chickens, why did the chicken cross the road?
I don't know why.
Because. Yes, I got him. I went out of order, but I don't care. There were 2 chicken jokes in a row.
That's not fair. I had no chance to recover here. Ugh. All right. Well, here's one for you.
Give me 2.
Okay. Let me check. Okay. We'll start with this one. All right. If a child refuses to take a nap, is she resisting arrest? It's okay. That was my warm up.
Hey, if you got another one.
Yeah. What do you call an overprotective father trying to stop his kids from having sex?
Bryant?
A pop blocker.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Hey, if blackbirds have black babies and bluebirds have blue babies, what bird has no babies? A swallow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Come on, nothing? God, that's one of my best ones. Shit. I just laughed. Damn it. Hold it together. Sorry, microphones. We're slamming on the table.
Home stretch here.
Yeah.
What do kids hate but moms love?
Don't know.
Spankings.
Oh, no.
Getting to the...
Oh, no.
That's a bone joke. We're getting to the
yeah, I get a point for that one. What do you call 2 octopuses?
Octopi.
Octopi? What do you call 2 octopussies? Octopies. Got him. That look the same.
Was that your joke?
No, it's not. But I still got you to laugh, so that's all that matters. No, that's all that matters. What do you call 2 octopi that look the same? Identical.
Your screw up was better than
I know. That's what I was going for. I literally have it written out as octopussy. Trying to get you to laugh.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Bad jokes and then jokes inside of bad jokes.
Okay. 2 robbers are robbing a liquor store.
Okay.
One grabs a bottle and says, "Is this whiskey?" The other says, "Not as whiskey as robbing a bank."
God dang it. That's so stupid.
Not as whiskey
so stupid.
as robbing a bank.
So stupid. Hey, why is dark spelled with a K and not a C?
I don't know.
Because you can't see in the dark.
Sure can. I try to respond to your jokes so I don't laugh. It's not working.
No, you got to just stay silent. I think that's the move.
That's the key.
Is this your last one?
This is my final joke.
All right.
It's a good one.
I got to figure out which of mine I want to end with then.
Okay. How do you get a squirrel out of a tree?
Hit it in the nuts? I don't know.
It's kind of brutal. Pull down your pants and show them your nuts. Uncle joke.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, I've got like 5 or 6 more, but I got to figure out which one I actually want to do.
Okay. Make it a good one.
I'm gonna finish this one on I'm gonna read like 2 more just because there's one in here that I really want to read, but I don't want to end on it.
Get bonus points if I laugh.
Exactly. My wife said I was immature, so I told her to get the hell out of my fort.
Forts are for guys.
Nothing? God, all right, fine, be that way. I thought that one was funny. I went to the zoo the other day, but they only had a dog. It was a Shih Tzu. All right, what else do I have?
Name's a dog Shih Tzu.
What a yeah, seriously, what kind of fucking dork did that? Okay, so this is the last
so
joke, and it's not funny, but I just think it's really good.
Right.
Hey, what did one French lady say to the other? No idea, I don't speak French.
Yeah.
And that concludes Dad Joke of the Week.
God, we ended on a good one there.
That was just a wet fart of a finish.
Oh,
Damn
man.
it. Nice idea, dude. We've
fun.
seen a handful of these online, and we just thought it was kind of funny. I think we're also we want to include a studio audience in the future if we do more dad joke offs because
that'd
I
make
think
it
it's
even more funny.
there's a lot of videos online of like folks at a party.
Yeah.
And then they turn it on and do dad like jokes during the party.
So I had an
Cracks me
idea on the way over here too when I was thinking about this. I was like, something else that'd be funny along these lines is do this exact same thing, but have our wives write the jokes, and we don't see them until we're reading them. Mm-hmm. Right? Because we've read these jokes
But
before.
we do it on like the flashcards like you did, but
right.
The punchline's on the back.
Yeah.
So you read the front of the joke, and then
Right.
you have to turn it over. Oh, that's
and
good.
then see, it's like you try not to laugh at your own jokes. That's going to be
I
the
like that a
challenge,
lot.
right?
That's really funny.
So we might have to implement that, later
Perfect. Well, I think that's kind of the end of the show, at least for what I have on the books. Do you have anything else that you think we should talk about?
Man, that's all I got,
What about numbers?
That's
Where
what I was
are
going
we?
to say.
Yeah.
Numbers looking good, man. We're basically pushing 800 subscribers on YouTube alone.
Really cool. Thank you all very much for that.
So, yeah, big shout out to all of our listeners.
Our decent dads out there.
I know we still need to think of a good name for them. Decent dads is
Please. Okay,
good.
so here's my ask. Please, either in the comments or on Instagram or on Facebook, please tell us ideas for that. We need feedback from our people.
Yeah.
Give us ideas.
a good
please.
name for our listeners.
Yes, please.
Decent dads is good, but it's like that's the name of the podcast, so it's like you don't want to.
It's
same
questionable.
name,
Yeah, it's questionable.
But yeah, no, thank you all so much for liking, commenting, sharing. You guys are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing.
Appreciate it.
This thing has grown a lot quicker and a lot more than what either one of us thought.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Would happen.
Really, really cool. Thank you all very much.
Very much so. But yeah, keep doing that. But other than that, that's all I got.
Perfect. Okay. Well, we hope you all enjoyed this non-traditional version of the Decent Dads podcast. So I'll just say to you, way to go, Decent Dad.
Way to go, buddy.
Nice work, bud.
Good job.
So on to basketball practice now, I guess.
Let's get loosened up. Do those stretches.
So I guess without anything else to say,
Let's do it.
we'll see you next time.
Did you plug the cord in? I see it. That's just going to be an ongoing joke every episode, I feel like.
Okay, so quick checklist. Microphones.
Check.
Microphones
What?
are good.
Is this
Cameras.
thing
Camera. Yeah. Knock, knock, bump, bump. Did we do it?
Yeah, mine's on.
Now you got me.